Let's see. It's getting there. It takes it a second sometimes. Cool. We are live on Facebook now.
Awesome.
So Rachel, tell everybody a little bit about your business and what the market you're in and what you have going on.
I am on the Gulf Coast in Alabama. If anyone knows of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach area, I'm actually in Foley. I work for a company, Gulf Winds Realty and Development. And I've done furniture and design sales for the last 15 years. So I know the market. I know the market really well. I know all of the properties. I have some great contacts. Of course, people don't buy and sell homes every single day. So I'm just trying to find a way to boost my business to get more buyers and listings, and just to help also just kind of rebranding myself.
Yeah. Well, what are you currently doing?
Well, I actually did my first Facebook paid advertisement this past week.
Yeah.
I've only gotten one lead off of it. I did it on one of my landing pages, but I'm going to look into doing a few other things. And that's what I was really just wanting to get some feedback and see what you could do to help me figure out which direction I need to be going.
You know what I would do if I were you? Focusing on like luxury real estate is a little bit different than doing like general brokerage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons I do general brokerage is because my market doesn't have the luxury market that some other people's market does. I don't want to say that it doesn't have a luxury market at all, because I've got a $500,000 home selling like today, I think, closing today. So I do a few here and there, but I don't really like specialize in that market. And the reason being is because when the market fell off, I did a lot more general brokerage because general brokerage was actually selling, But this is what I would do if I were you, and I kind of learned this from the foreclosure days. Is whatever you look like online, people assume that's you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So let's say, for example, you guys are in Gulf Shores. One of the things I would start doing is I would start, if for me, and this is a little bit more long-term strategy, I would start going and I would blog about things. I'd blog, I'd do video, you might even want to like find one of these college kids or something that can actually do edit your video and stuff into cool 4-6 minute things. But what I would do is I would start going out doing video of high-end properties, and I would start pointing out things that make it high-end. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like features that are the high-end. Like, why does this I'm assuming you're talking about, I've been to Gulf Shores before, so I'm assuming you're talking about, you guys have a lot of high-end homes, but you got a lot of high-end condos too, right?
Oh, yeah, we do. For instance, there's one condo complex here called Turquoise Place that every single unit in there is over $1 million condo unit.
Wow. What makes Turquoise Place $1 million condos?
The amenities and just the building itself. It's one of the most beautiful buildings that you'll see on the beach as far as the condos go. It's got lazy rivers on 3 different levels that all go around the entire building, where you get all beach views. It's just amazing.
Yeah. I would start doing videos of places like Turquoise Place. Do video, take pictures. They don't have to be anything long, like 3 to 5 minutes. Maybe you're walking around talking about the amenities. Have some college kid, or you can probably get it done on Fiverr. Get you a really nice looking intro to go into it, have somebody edit the video. But then when they edit it, have it done into like several sections. That way you can share it on Facebook, you can share it on YouTube, you can share it on Instagram. And I'll tell you, like Instagram, I'm not really a big fan of Instagram, because honestly, I don't really get it sometimes. What people are following, but I can tell you this: YouTube, like my YouTube videos for training and stuff, if you consistently put out content, your audience consistently grows. And you just
Okay.
tag your videos, right? And they start showing up in Google and stuff. But I'll tell you this too, Facebook, it's amazing. If you have like a nice looking video and you share it to your Facebook page, and then you share it to your business page, and then you boost it, maybe you spend $10, $20. Sometimes those videos go viral, but you'll get a lot of views from that. But I would start taking those properties and then too building you a blog and putting those videos, putting the description and everything into the blog.
Mm-hmm.
And it won't be long. I mean, and when I say it won't be long, we're talking about like 3 to 6 months from now. A lot of those, if you do like a really solid blog post, this really informative, real stuff, you know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of agents are spamming their blog. They don't really understand how to blog, and how Google's looking for unique content, unique actionable content that people stay on for a while. So if you do a really in-depth blog post that's 1,000, 1,500 words, 2,000 words, there's a lady in the group named Jan Chilton.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I probably shouldn't have blown her up on this Facebook Live because this get watched like a couple hundred times. Jan is like an SEO master. She works for a couple of companies. She's a really good friend of mine that lives here in the Myrtle Beach area, and she's just a master of search engine optimization. And the companies that she works for in Myrtle Beach, like she's working for one specific company. I don't want to tell you what the name is, but that company dominates the search engines. Before Jan worked for them, you couldn't find their website. I mean, in every company she works for is like that. But
Okay.
but you have to have like a long in-depth article because Google is actually looking and they're tracking clickbacks now. So when you do a search, let's say for Gulf Shores condos, and you click on number 3 and you look at number 3 and it's not what you want and you click back to Google's actually tracking all that, the time you're staying on that page. Basically our whole world's being tracked. And if you create that in-depth content, it's going to start ranking well. And it isn't going to be long. I mean, it won't be like one article. It might be 25 or 50 articles down the road,
Mm-hmm.
You're going to look online like that luxury person. If you take your Facebook page and you keep sharing stuff to it, you're going to look online like that luxury person. Now saying that, I'm not telling you should do that and not like make calls and call for sale by owners and call expireds.
Mm-hmm.
I would just incorporate that into my strategy too with you. I would still make calls, those specific communities, I would go through and I'd pull a list of those communities too, or maybe use Redx has a service called GeoLeads.
Uh-huh.
And what GeoLeads does is it lets you drop a pin, right? So you can drop a pin for an address, say on that condo complex, and it'll
Mm-hmm.
pull all the numbers for that condo complex.
Okay.
So not only can you, in my script when I call those people would be something very basic, like I'd look for the buildings where there was pendings in it or the communities where there were pendings, and my script would really go, hey, Mr. Seller, this is Jason. Hey, Mr. Owner, because you're really not calling sellers. Hey, Mr. Owner, this is Jason Morris. I specialize in luxury real estate, and there's one that just went pending in your community. It looks like it was for 1.2 million or however much it was. Do you know anybody else that might be looking to sell in there? And just call and ask those questions and target those specific communities that you want to, because if you're like my area, well, you're not really like my area, but like in my area, there's not a whole lot of communities if you're targeting 1 million plus. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not going to be, if you were in California, it'd be different. But in Alabama, there's not a ton of communities. You guys might
No.
have, how many would you say are in that 1 million plus range?
As far as like entire complexes like that, there's only say 2 or 3, but being that we are a luxury waterfront market,
Yeah.
There are hundreds of thousands in the even just 5 to 800,000 range.
Yeah. We're like that too. We have a lot of beachfront and second row stuff that's expensive.
Yeah.
Not a lot of actual communities. Yeah, I would do the same thing there. I would try to build as much content online as possible, because are these people, are they primary residence people or second home?
The majority of them are going to be second home.
Yeah. So they really don't know a whole lot of agents. The only agents they know is the company that's probably doing vacation rental for them, and the agent that sold their last place. That's
Right.
probably the agents they know. So sometimes it's a little bit tough if that agent's doing a good job and that company's doing a good job of keeping up with them. It's a little bit tough to break in that market. I mean, it's a long term plan. It's not something you can really just start doing today.
Right.
Yeah. So I would the number one thing I would do is start looking like that agent online that you want to be.
Okay.
So what are you doing right now for your internet presence and all that stuff?
Pretty much my Facebook and blogging.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd just continue. I'd add video. I think video is fantastic. I mean,
Okay.
even these things that we're doing here, I'll tell you this, I can't seem to get Zoom's camera to work this morning, but I will tell you this, like YouTube videos with actual video in it versus YouTube videos with just a still picture,
Uh-huh.
YouTube like rewards you for that. And so for example, I see a lot of agents that do like a slideshow type thing for their YouTube videos.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't do those. I think that those slideshows, I'm not saying that they're bad, but those slideshows just really don't. YouTube, I think, is categorizing those as spam.
Okay.
Just from
The
what
big-
I'm seeing with my coaching stuff I've been doing.
Okay.
Yeah. But does that help you any? Does
It
that help
does.
out some and at least give you kind of a direction?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you might. I don't usually tell people to do mail, but you might want to incorporate some mailing too, like along with I'd call a list, but then I'd mail that list too.
Yeah.
So sometimes mail though, here's the problem with mail we have in our market is that everybody seems to do mail. And so there's a lot of clutter that you have to cut through. So when you do it, you have to have like a really nice, high quality looking mail piece. But there's a lot of print companies out there that if you do, there's usually a price break. Like if you do, say, 500 mailers,
Hmm.
um, it'd be one price, but for just a little bit more, you can do like 1,000 or 2,000. Like
Right.
I've worked with some political campaigns where we've done a lot of mailing, and it was shockingly cheap to do like 3,000 and 4,000 mailers. The expensive part was the bulk rate, uh, postal service fees and stuff.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I would work on though. So what else do you have going on in your market?
Well, our market is hot. I mean, even for home sales, for condo sales, I mean, the market is just super hot right now. We've got a huge new amusement park being built down here that's getting us a lot of recognition. So I'm just basically working on building my business in every direction I can, but I'm trying to stay focused so that I don't end up flopping around like a fish and not getting anything done.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like in the past when I've worked on more internet stuff, usually if you'd add something to your day, something has to come out of your day. So be
Hmm.
careful that you don't like get rid of that prospecting time. You know what I mean? And the
Right.
stuff that's generating you business right now, because I've been guilty of that in the past where I've went and said, I want to create this great new website, or I want to do I want to do more coaching videos, right? And the reason I can do like a lot of these talks this week is we're having a baby. So I feel like I'm just on standby mode and I'm just kind of hanging out. I don't want to go set a lot of appointments because I don't want to be like, hey honey, you know, it's like 1 o'clock. Can you get this baby out by 2? I got a listing appointment at 3,
Right.
I don't want to feel like that or feel like I'm under a lot of pressure to be somewhere this week. You know what I mean? So,
Absolutely.
but every time when you want to add a bunch of stuff to your day, something has to come out, and I'd be careful not to get rid of your prospecting time. Even with this whole new strategy, I would still continue prospecting because that's going to be the lifeblood. This is just additional stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, because and two, you might want to even look at what's your price range you're working on now? What kind of business are you doing now? Like what?
Around the 200K.
Okay, so you're doing like average price point
Yeah,
for your market. Yeah, you might want to take and are you using a pre-listing package?
I am.
Okay, you might want to take your pre-listing package and just go through it maybe create you a second one specifically targeting those $500,000 plus homes.
Mm-hmm.
And making sure, like you have maybe some extra pictures. Those pictures are extra high quality. That's maybe you want to go on Fiverr or somewhere and pay a few dollars to have it like laid out really nice. And I haven't seen it, so I'm not talking bad about your pre-listing package. It may already be laid out really nice, but the first thing I would do with that too, along with creating your online strategy, is I would go back and I'd pull every expired, every withdrawn, every canceled listing from MLS that say $500,000 plus. Actually, you might even want to pull like $350,000, $400,000, because if you're like my market and your market's on fire, that house that expired a year and a half or 2 years ago at 400,000, it's
Mm-hmm.
probably worth 5 or 550 now. I mean,
Okay.
I just sold one for the one that I got closing today is closing for five. It's closing for 535. That same house, like 2 years ago, they talked to me about selling it, and this was a friend of mine, and we couldn't get 500,000. I don't want to tell you what we were. I don't want it to be on recording somewhere what I told them they could get for it, but it wasn't close to 500,000. But our
Yeah.
market's moved so much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that $400,000 house that didn't sell 2 years ago, but lending's different too than it was a few years ago. So those jumbo loans are a little bit easy,
Yeah.
but I would go pull a list of those people, and that's one of the places I would start. I would start adding that to my prospecting. Those 400,000 or 500,000 plus homes, I'd add those to my prospecting. I would take and I'd do the same thing probably with for sale owners and old for sale owners. And do you guys have a normal season, like rental season?
Our rental season actually goes from pretty much Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Okay, ours does the same thing. Once kids go back to school, Myrtle Beach gets real quiet for a little while.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, so once I would try to get everything prepared now, right? Try
Yeah.
to get as much of it done as you can, as much video and as much stuff on there so you look like an agent, because once the rentals end, that's when a lot of these people are going to put it on the market. I mean, if you're like Myrtle Beach, we can't really show a vacation rental this time of year unless it's on Saturday between like 11 and 3. Between
Exactly.
check
Check
in
in
and
and
check
check
out.
out.
Yep. So it's kind of funny. You know what? The guy I talked to earlier, Bill. Bill is in Naples, Florida, which is almost the same as the market that me and you're in. But yeah. So once the rental season ends, man, I would start hitting it really, really hard. And the expireds that expired this year, this summer, because you guys are like this too. There's homes that are priced right now that are on MLS or that have expired recently that are rental houses, and they can't
Mhm.
sell because nobody can get in there to look at them.
Right.
You know, so I would try to make those the top of my list. You might even want to start mailing out something to those, but the thing is, you're going to have to send something like really good that really stands out. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
So they remember like who Rachel Miller is when you call. You might even want to start calling those people. And the advice that I might give them to is to is let's wait until Labor Day to put it on the market. You're getting a lot of rentals. Let's wait till Labor Day to put it on the market. Now the downside of that is nobody really wants to buy a $700,000 beach house in October and carry it 100% by themselves until until like March or April, because that's what happens here.
Yeah.
So those houses don't get a lot of showings in September, October, but come like January, February, in my market, that's when they start really, really picking up.
Yeah.
So does that kind of help you or give you like a little bit more of a plan to work with?
Yeah, it sure does. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, Rachel. Well, hey, if I can help you with anything in the future, just send me a message and let me know. So, if somebody's looking to send a client down to Gulf Shores, Alabama, how can they get in touch with you?
They can reach me on my cell phone at 251-213-8112, or they can email me at Rachel, Rachel, at gulfwinds.com.
Cool. That's awesome. Hey, and anybody listening to this, if you guys are interested, we talked about geo leads with Red X. If you guys are interested in geo leads, if you call Red X, tell them I sent you and that you're in the Facebook group Real Estate Agents That Really Work. They will waive the $150 setup fee, and then they have some package deals and stuff like that too. Hey, we got one question from Thomas Lipovinsky. I think I'm saying that right. I might be brutally messing up his name. The downside to waiting for Labor Day is another agent taking the listing 6 months. Take the listing now. That is right. That, if you do have somebody that wants to list today, it is always a good idea to list today. You know what I mean?
Oh, don't worry, I wouldn't talk them out of it.
Yeah, that's how I am too. Don't talk them out of listing today. Just prepare them for, hey, look, you can only show it in this 4-hour window. Because some agents will list these big, nice houses, and they never tell their sellers, hey, you can only show this thing 4 hours a week,
Correct.
Because they just don't know the market. I see that all the time here. But I appreciate you being on with me today, Rachel. Let me know if I can help you with anything.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day. Bye.
You too. Bye.